The hardest walk you make is the walk you make alone. But that is the walk that makes you the strongest. So let's talk a little bit about the lone wolf mentality. Very closely related to the Sigma male archetype, as you've probably heard of alpha males, beta males, and of course, the rarest breed, the Sigma males. So, a few words about the lone wolf mentality. But to add some context, I do want to go more in depth on the whole idea of rising up the ladder with this personality, more so than the actual personality itself. I think there's a lot of healthy ideas and principles one with his personality follows, but likewise, a few unhealthy adoptions. The feeling of no one understands you, no one has the same values as you have. There's a lot of antisocial behaviors that's cultivated in this mentality. I think this is a really interesting topic, so feel free to drop a comment. I do want this to be some sort of an open discussion, so leave a like and subscribe for more content on this type of stuff. So there's a lot of self-made entrepreneurs or people that are working towards self-improvement that develop the lone wolf mentality, especially when they're self-made or coming from a place of have-not. This tends to happen when you're carving your own path in life because if you've got weight to lose, money to make, or wisdom to obtain, you shouldn't be worrying about the media, social constructs, or how other people live their lives, right? We're very highly and acutely aware that if you've been living on Earth for a good amount of time, there's a lot of people that just don't have your best interest at heart. And that's the more positive thing because the lone wolf mentality goes against what the crowd says and can look past what their parents, you know, teachers, and society at large says. Tough to be let down when you don't expect anything. It's better to walk a path alone than to follow the crowd going the wrong direction. It is our job to listen to that inner wolf. Life is a single player game. You're in your own thoughts alone and you die alone. An interesting way to expound that idea is that only the individual transcends. Nobody reaches enlightenment or internal happiness or does any serious internal work in group settings. It is a very lonely road, but in 99 scenarios out of 100, it's the right road you should take if you don't want to be like 99% of people. To some degree, people who constantly look for social affirmations in their internal work aren't that serious about it. And it's fine, I'm not judging, but it's just that they crave more social interaction than they're really craving internal work. We all know group studies with friends or group activities don't really produce the best results. It makes sense that it's a more peaceful lifestyle to be working on internal work alone in a state of flow to achieve what you want because if you're a lone wolf, there is no outside noise. It's a you versus you game. The person looking back at you in the mirror. There's a disconnect from being a lone wolf and being lonely. They say loneliness is hell, but solitude is peace. Detachment is not that you own nothing. Detachment is that nothing owns you. You're not detached from everything, you're close to everything, but nothing consumes you. That was a quote from Shetty, former monk, and I think that's very much true. And by the way, the idea of self realization, being self realized, and self awareness, and finding true happiness with oneself, that notion is 100% under your own control. It's just there's no social rewards from it. But there's a lot of internal rewards. It's just all the rewards are antisocial rewards. Because when you're working on your inner self, people don't love it. It's not that they don't dislike it. Your friends, of course, support you, but they're not getting anything from it, right? At least that's what I notice when I work on my own personal development. And you can notice this concept of resistance from the outside point of view. For example, when a fat person is at the gym, oftentimes overweight people are ridiculed for working on themselves. The same way someone that's financially struggling decides to become a delivery man or a pizza boy or whatnot. These people who are working so hard to achieve something greater than they are, but constantly, they're the ones that receive some sort of looking down upon or a resistance questioned by external voices. Typically, voices from people that don't even matter, people they don't even remotely know. Like, isn't it obvious? They're trying to work on themselves, but to the eyes of other people, sometimes it isn't that way. So oftentimes they get judged for having big dreams. And that can be fuel for others, and at the same token, it can be discouragement. Now, the more important message that I want to I guess you could say, debunk about the lone wolf mentality is the idea of alienating others from yourself. Being married to your idea and beliefs, sort of like it's fixated on this thing and you're overly attached to your lone wolf identity. Therefore, now in the rest of your life, or in other pillars of your life, you apply this whole mantra of the lone wolf and you don't recalibrate your thought pattern because, like everything, overly using or overly applying can be counterproductive and can potentially lead to more bad than good at a certain point, and worst of all, hinder the attainment of the desired goal. When people say it being lonely at the top, especially in business success or achieving wealth creation, I'm surprised that people say it that way because it doesn't have to be lonely if you're bringing others along with you. When you're ascending up and you're growing, you're happy. But when you're also giving, you're 10 times as happy. So as you ascend, please, like I know you right now, if you watch these videos, there's this potential that you know you're capable of. So as you ascend, please, please think very carefully about how beautiful it can be for others to be up with you. Some people are great models of how there's no I in greatness, but there's also a lot of examples of miserable people because they think being at the top is a lonely journey. It's just staggering how people mix up and stir status with wealth building. I'm just surprised how many people think the right game is to take their feet and place it on people's shoulders and keep climbing up, instead of taking them by their arm and grabbing them by their collar and pulling them up. I'm fascinated by people's inability to see that most of the time when they think it's lonely, it's because they're just optimizing for the status game, which is a zero sums game. Now, granted, it could be just in their personality because, they're introverts or what have you, but the overarching message is that it doesn't have to be lonely at the top. If you focus on wealth games over status, it's a positive sum game. We create things together. Status, on the other hand, it's a very hierarchical game. Who's number one, who's number two, who's number three. And for number three to move to number two has to move out of that slot. So the problem with playing with these status games, to win, you have to put someone else down. That's why you should avoid these status games in your life, because they make you into this angry, combative person. You're always fighting to put others down, to put yourself up. Hence why people will often refer to the top being lonely. Alright, that's it for the video. Might have jumped around a lot. I apologize for that, but if you enjoyed, feel free to give this video a like and subscribe for more content. Been your boy Jay Martin. Peace and love.